All right, videographer I am not, but I have this cool idea, so I'm attempting. Hi, author J.A. Stein here, with my horse, Valkyrie. And since she is currently recovering from a bowed tendon, which is not any fun, by the way, we are consigned to walking a lot. We're like 5 months into a 9-month rehab right now, and she's slowly getting better. But long story short, I have this time, and y'all know I like books, and you know I like horses, and I thought, well, what if I read you books while I'm walking in circles, and then talk about how accurate they are in regards to actual life with horses, and where does fiction meet reality, where does what's possible, what's impossible, what's just wishful thinking in the world of horses, in the world of fiction involving horses, especially since like historical fiction is kind of my jam, and I am primarily a dressage rider, but I have dabbled in almost every other discipline. I've had clients in other disciplines. This is what I've been doing for a living, real job-wise, for the past more than 15 years now. I guess we're getting closer. Oh, I don't even want to think about how long that is now. I refuse to admit I'm getting old. But anyway, so I think it's only fair I start this lovely endeavor with my own book. I will pick on myself. So this is English Winter. It's actually the third book in my medieval trilogy. And the reason I'm going to start with this one is because the opening scene is first of all set in winter, and it is currently winter here in Pennsylvania, which is why we are stuck inside walking in circles instead of walking around the fields, because everything outside is a sheet of ice. We had a lovely ice storm right after Christmas. But yeah, it's a really fun opening scene, and it's kind of like your typical magical equestrian scene. And I don't know, I'll just read it and then we'll talk about it. I'm gonna try to read and walk and hold the camera all at the same time, so wish me luck. You ready, Val? Okay. I know. You think it's about you, don't you? Okay, so again, this is like very first opening scene of this book. This is November 1199, so we're talking late 12th century. Levan Manor, Aquitaine. The wind caressed her face with 1,000 needles. The cold sting of winter burned her eyes, making them tear, and yet she leaned into it, reveling in it, enjoying the pure sensation of being alive. Lady Eleanor de Levan did not have to urge her horse, Noir, faster, for he could feel her desire. He leaned into the bridle, lengthening stride, nostrils flaring in the cold air. The danger of a gallop on frosted earth was not enough. Eleanor let her reins slide through her fingers onto Noir's neck, closed her eyes, and threw her arms open, embracing the wind. They were flying for no reason but that they could. Eventually, the field they galloped across came to an end, and Eleanor had to pick up her reins, slowing Noir. He obliged, but not without a toss of his head in protest. They were on the rise of a hill, not far from Levan Manor. Around them lay Eleanor's estate, her hard-won inheritance, which, though now brown with dormant grass and leafless trees, still was beautiful in an early morning. The light was silvery gray, highlighting a low-level haze in the valley before her as if it was a magical curtain. The icy wind blew her cloak and hair around her, but she was not cold. The exhilarating power of the horse beneath her and the strength it took to stay in harmony with him had her muscles as warm as if she stood before the fire. Noir's whinny cut through the quiet morning, answered by the distant call of his stablemates back at the manor, which lay behind them, nestled between harvested fields and pruned vineyards. Eleanor laid a hand on the big horse's neck to reassure him, and he settled. They were used to each other by now. so in tune that they could read each other's minds. They both needed the outing, even in the cold, to calm their overactive personalities. There were no battles or tournaments for Noir, no long journeys that took him across kingdoms. Eleanor felt the restlessness in him, though perhaps it was only a reflection of herself. Okay, so, horse stuff. First of all, you've got Eleanor out riding her horse on the frosty ground. Sorry, I told you I'm a bad videographer. But she's riding him out on the frosted ground. Kind of dangerous, but totally we do it. You have to be careful. It depends on the footing. Sometimes you can ride on the frosty ground and it's hard and there's no ice and you're all good. Sometimes there's that little patch of ice that could be your doom. It's the risk you take. That's why her adrenaline is pumping. So, totally possible. Second little thing that's happening in this scene is she drops the reins, and so picture reins. Oh, hold on. That's helping me demonstrate. Well, now it helps if I put your reins on straight. We do like this. And reins like that, just dangling on the horse's neck. And then she just reaches her arms out and goes flying. I know, you think I'm nuts. We'll keep walking. But also, totally a possible thing. If you have a horse that knows how to listen to your legs in your seat, you do not need reins. Now, that does not mean it is not much easier to ride a horse with reins. I highly recommend it, especially if you have not been doing this for years and years, and know your horse inside and out, and know how to make your horse respond to all those subtle seat and leg cues. But obviously, Eleanor has been doing this her whole life because she is a knightess, and it's like the definition of premier equestrian back in the 12th century, and she knows how to do it. So, totally a realistic scene, totally something I have done myself on this horse, actually. We live like just going out around the field or the arena, and just like nice canter going, drop the reins, put your arms out. Oh, it's wonderful. We're gonna fix you, make your leg better, and then maybe we can do it again. Right? Okay, great. Okay, next thing. I also got, got the power of the horse beneath her and the strength it took to stay in harmony with him, had her muscles as warm as if she stood before the fire. Totally true. There's like this misconception, I used to fight with people in high school all the time, that horseback riding is easy and the horse does all the work. I'm sorry, but it takes a lot of muscle to ride these things. They're big. They're very big. And they're moving, and you are making millions, probably is millions, I don't think I'm exaggerating much, of minute little adjustments as you ride in order to adapt your balance to stay in harmony with this horse so that you're not flopping around like a fish and throwing them off balance, which is where a lot of horses actually get resistant to our aids and stop listening because we're acting like fish instead of being in tune with them and balanced like humans, but it takes strength in order to stay in balance with them. So you get hot, I guess is my point. You need a high level of fitness to do this sport, and the bigger and more powerful the horse, the stronger you have to be. Which is why in my sport, dressage, we basically spend years and years getting to the point where we can ride these big, powerful warm bloods. Like, there's nobody that gets into dressage and immediately gets on this fancy, hot-tempered warm blood and survives. Unless maybe it's very, very old and very, very patient and worth its weight in gold, which they do exist. But basically, we start out with your more think of a car, a Ford. I'm going on a tangent now. I'm not sure what this has to do with my scene, except that her muscles stay warm, okay? And even if you are doing this day in and day out, it still takes energy. So in the middle of winter, she's riding around, she's staying nice and toasty warm. That's my point, okay? So all in all, picking on myself in my book, English Winter, I think I did a great job in the first scene. And I think the whole description of winter and crisp and cold, yes, that's very much based on real life observations. I like winter a lot. I mean, I like all the seasons, but winter's special, especially when you're out in a crisp, crunchy morning, a little frost. So, all right, well, let's see how this video turns out. Here's round one. I've got a stack of books to read you the rest. We'll try to do one of these a day as I walk around in circles. Hopefully the video quality doesn't make you seasick. I will do my best to work on that. And what do you think, Val? Say bye-bye.